welcome to the Mind Body Podcast, your rebellious podcast with me, your host Maria, where it is all about a strong body, calm mind, healing, and fully living. And today, our special guest is Doctor Kimberly Linert, who is a behavior optometrist. She's a speaker, author, visionary, a friend, and colleague. I am so happy to have you here, Dr. Kimberly.
Thanks
Welcome.
for having me. And I had so much fun having you on my podcast. So it's great to come on yours and be able to meet some of your listeners.
Yes, I'm excited for you to share all that you do because there is a lot that you do. And before we dive into what you do, let's get to know who Dr. Kimberly is. Give us 3 words that tell us who you are and a little bit of a backstory behind each word.
Okay. So, the 3 words you want to know? Okay, happy to do that. So, when you ask me what 3 words kind of describe me, my first one was loving. I love people. I'm insanely interested in people. And just about who they are. If they're doing something unique, I want to know about it. I want to learn about it. I'm just really intrigued with people, and I just love people and love seeing them do well. And that's how I got into what I do now, which is high performance. I started out doing it through brain and different things, but now I have a huge toolbox that I help people with that includes the brain, but also emotions and physical and nutrition, and it all goes together. So that's the first word. The second word would be creative. I'm an artist. I love creating anything. So it doesn't have to be art. It could be putting together a nice meal or putting together a project. I like being the visionary and the one like saying, okay, here's the pieces and parts. Let's just put them all together and make something cool. I am not much of what you would call an operator. In other words, I'm not good at the day to day. I like
Also,
putting things together. And then the third one would be flexible or flexibility, because I'm one of those people that's kind of like a chameleon. I can kind of connect with different people from different anything, backgrounds, religions, you name it. I just so interested in the person that I'm more interested in learning about them than getting into a conversation where one person's going to be right, one person's going to be wrong. I'm very interested in seeing your point of view. I'm just good at just kind of adapting in whatever situation I'm in.
and that is a skill.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to the first point that you make, because I will tell you, I can very much relate to that. Like I thrive on authentic relationships, and when I get to know somebody, I really want to know who they are to their core, like what makes them excited, what makes them upset, why they're like that, like what's their backstory. And I want to know the story, like at all the details. And one thing that I have found through connecting to my clients and connecting to colleagues is, I mean, just like what you and I connected, it's more than just like, this is who I am, this is what I do, and this is my title. Okay, great to meet you. But like, okay, so why do you do what you do? What makes you excited? And one thing I found out is that people actually crave that. I think nowadays we've become so robotic, is the word that comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
We've really disconnected from the human, and there are so many rules and regulations of say this, don't say this, be politically correct, that we have literally lost the human in us because we have to fit in that box that we're told we have to fit. And people are like, man, I just want to be me. I just want to be authentic. But it's not an easy thing to do nowadays and age. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say to everyone, please be yourself.
Yes,
Because
please
I
do.
want to know you. I want to know who you are. I want to get to know you, your weird quirks, and everybody's got weird things about them. I don't care who you are. You have something that's kind of strange to someone else, or certain habits or whatever. We all have those. We also all have wonderful, brilliant, beautiful things that people like about us. And that's what happens when you love someone. You love someone just the way they are. Now, you might not like everything about them. I mean, talk to any married couple. You know, you might not like everything about them, but you always love them. And that's the thing. And even my children have said to me, I'll be talking about someone and they'll say, "Mom, that's a really bad person. They're not a nice person." But I'm like, I can always find something good in someone.
Mhm.
And even some people that seem kind of mean, or I can always find something. That doesn't mean I'm going to hang out with them or allow them to abuse me by being around them, but I can find something good because I think we all have good in us, but our experiences sometimes make us feel angry or upset or hurt. And some of us are more willing to show that to the public than other people.
But I think you're so on point because I frequently say when there is a person that you don't like, let's say it's a work environment, right? And for whatever reason that person is getting on your nerves, bothering you with their behavior, bothering you with what you say, a lot of times it has nothing to do with you, right? It has to do with them and, like you said, their experiences and where they are in place. And for whatever reason, they might have built that, high picket fence that nobody can crack through for, whatever it is in their past. And what I have found is that when you show compassion and when you go from a point of, are you okay? Versus, well, I just don't want to talk to you. I was interacting with a colleague and he was not acting like himself. And I could have gotten easily upset because the things that were supposed to get done were not getting done. I said, can we just put the business to the side? Are you okay? Like, is everything okay with you? And I think sometimes people are like, wow, like people
Mhm.
care. But I think that gives them an opportunity to be like, well, this is what's going on in my life. This is what's going on with my family. So and so is having a health issue. I'm stressed. I'm worried, whatever it is. And you realize that, yeah, I mean, they're not performing and there is a reason, there is a story behind it rather than they're just being an a-hole.
Mhm. Exactly. And sometimes if you can just find something to agree on, whether it be world peace, so big that, just anything, find something to agree on, and then just find more things that you can agree on. The other thing is sometimes to match that person's, what I would call their match their tone. So if someone is really angry and upset, by coming in happy and it, we don't want to not be happy, but you don't want to go on and be laughing and stuff and they're upset. You find some way to match it. Now, I don't want to match them by being angry, but there's a whole science on this. You can match them by there's different levels. So if they're really angry, you can match them by going just one level above, which is being bored. So that you're not ignoring them, but you're also not reacting to what they're doing. So if you're just one step, one tone above where they are at, you can get in communication with them and hopefully you can pull them up the levels till they get to a higher vibration of being.
And I'm excited you said that because I think what you're saying now and the way I'm thinking about it is that has to do with your self-awareness and your
Mhm.
self-control and being able to respond to a situation like this versus react, which, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, how useful is that? Whether it's in a personal relationship or a professional relationship, and you're an expert in performance. I mean, oh my gosh, let's talk about performance and being able to respond versus react. That is huge. But you need to have that emotional intelligence to also know, all right, this is not the right time to, get into a fist fight with them because now they're defensive, maybe they're angry. And if you jump on them for that, they're just going to shut down
Mhm.
and you're not going to get the result that you want to get to because you will not be able to have that communication.
Exactly. And just like you said, being able to respond rather than to react. So if someone's angry and they're trying to start a fight with you just by just not engaging, again, I don't agree with with ignoring someone, because I think that just makes them feel isolated and alienated. But if they're really angry, you might say, you know, I'd really like to talk to you. Let's get back to each other in 10 minutes when you're feeling a little calmer or something like that. But also, like in performance, the person who is, believe it or not, peaceful, even in a very competitive situation, the person who has the inside calm, they've done their practice, they know their skill, their sport, or whatever it is they're performing at, they know it, and there might be a little bit of nervousness, but they still have this calm. And so they can get into that zone where they can really perform their best. Whereas if you're all anxious, or if you're, you know, competition is good if it makes you do your best, but it's not always good when you're comparing yourself to someone else, or if you're just trying to mm, have it in a anxiety stress type situation. You always still want to have that inner calmness.
Yeah. And that is something so important that I talk to my athletic clients about, being able to stay focused and present into the moment, because
Mhm.
that present moment of competition is the ego. It's very easy for the ego to jump in, right?
Mhm.
And if it goes well, the ego does just starts jumping from joy, which in itself can cause problems. But
Mhm.
vice versa, if you don't do as well and you're comparing yourself, that can go down the rabbit hole. So neither way, you're not balanced, right? You're kind of going up and down the roller coaster versus staying balanced. And
Mhm.
that works for high performance athletes, also works for regular folks like us on a daily basis, because we can have such more productive conversations um, without the reactiveness and without the stress that comes along with it.
Mhm.
And
Which,
I
you
will tell
know,
you, go ahead.
I was
Sorry,
gonna
go
say, that just reminds me of like win-win situations. You know, how
ahead.
you might even be in a negotiation or even a baseball game. The pitcher is trying to psych out the batter. He is. And if that batter takes the bait, he's not going to perform as well. Well, the same thing in a negotiation. If someone's, you know, trying to push to get what they want and they're trying to intimidate you, that's that's not going to be a win-win situation. So you always want something a win-win situation. The only way you can do that if both parties are actually um want a win-win situation, but also they're open to listening, they're open to seeing the other person's point of view, and then creating something that makes it all work.
Yeah. And you know, that's also making me think of the I'm not sure if you have heard the saying that the only difference between manipulation and influence is intent.
Hmm.
And I think the intent of how you go into a conversation, into a sports game, or whatever it is that you're getting yourself into, which is related to performance, is intent. And it's a very different energy if you show up with the intent of, I'm going to screw you over, versus the intent of a win-win situation, which you just brought up as an example.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That.
What is your so you have, your background is into eye health, I would say.
Hmm.
And then you have done a lot of work around eye health related to brain health. And now you're tying all of that into performance, which I will tell you, from what I see, to me, that is absolutely fascinating, because the type of work that I do, the physical work, the mental work that I do, it's all about really changing the neuroplasticity of the brain, because I'm teaching people how to move in a different way that's biomechanically correct, that gets them the best results, that gets them out of pain, that keeps them in alignment. And from a mindset perspective, it's exactly the type of things we're talking about, being self-aware of their reactions and changing the reactions to responses and so forth. So with your background, tell us a bit of the bridge that took you from eye health to brain to performance, because I can totally clearly say how that works together. But maybe some of our listeners are like, what does eye health have to do with performance?
Yeah, well, that makes sense. So I am just a family optometrist. I mean, I check people's eyes and do regular eye exams where we, you know, give them glasses, contacts, make sure their eyes are healthy. So I do that. But I also had a therapy center for years, and I started out in vision therapy. And vision therapy is eye brain exercises that integrate the vision with the rest of your life as far as how you perform. And as I did vision therapy over the years, I found that I did more and more and more brain work to the point where there was maybe 20% was vision, but 80% was mind and brain. So really integrating the body and the brain and the vision. So I might have someone up on a balance beam and I'll give them some glasses that kind of distort the world. Basically, it might make it look double or it might make them have to do their balance. And then not only that, I'll throw a ball at them. I say, okay, I want you to walk on the balance board. I'm going to throw this ball. So you're having to use your central and your peripheral vision together, which is really important. Um, but you're also having to balance your body. You're also having to take that image that's kind of mixed up from the filters, the glasses I gave you, and you're gonna have your brain working to make that right so you can actually walk and catch the ball. Other things that I did with people is I'd get them on a trampoline and I would have them have a board in front of them and it would have lines of letters or colors or symbols. And I'd say, okay, when you see red, you have to clap your hands. When you see an A, you have to, jump to the right. When you see a B, you have to jump to the left. Um, so there was all these patterns they had to do. It works really well with people who are in music. Some music is similar to that because you have to stay on the beat because they're jumping every time, and every time that they're jumping, they have to do it. So it's not like they can go, next one. No, no, no. Every time your feet hit the trampoline, you have to be doing that next action. And so it really makes you fast at responding. It also doesn't let you respond ahead of time. I worked with a lot of people who they have attention deficit and they respond fast or they respond before they think. And this keeps them from doing that. So it helps people who have attention problems, helps people who are musicians because it's a lot about rhythm and just getting your body in rhythm with your actions, with your mind, with your vision. It's very complicated, but by doing these simple things, it actually integrates into life, which is very amazing. It integrates into being able to stick with a task or focus for longer periods of time and focus, not only focus, but think while you're focusing and make decisions and then act on the decisions quickly, which works in sports because the faster the second baseman can see that the first baseman is sending him the ball, he's going to be more ready to catch that ball. If all of a sudden it's right there, he's
Right.
gonna miss it. And that's another thing about what I do. I get people to use their central and peripheral vision together. Central vision is used for identifying things, seeing what something is. Your peripheral vision is kind of to scope out what's going on in your world. Well, if you're all central all the time, which a lot of people are, you miss things. So if you're the second baseman and you're all central, guess what? You're going to get hit with a ball because you don't see it fast enough because your peripheral vision is turned off. And if you're all peripheral, when it goes to catch it, they won't be able to focus to catch it, you see? So you have to use your central and peripheral vision together. And so a lot of what I was doing when I was in the therapy center was getting people to use those two together. Well, that transfers into life too. If you have a goal, you have to clearly see that goal and know where you're heading. What does your peripheral vision do? Well, your peripheral vision gives you different choices and opportunities. How does it do that? Because if you're going to walk, let's say you're going to want to get over this mountain, you could walk over it, you could walk around it, but as you're walking, there's rocks, there's a river, there's a gully. Well, if you're only central, you can only see one thing in front of you, just like headlights on a dark road. And you can just, it's foggy, you can just see a little bit in front of you. But if you can see everything, even though you know exactly where you're going, you have so many paths to get there. And it makes the person so much more able and again, relaxed. Because you're anxious when you only can see one piece of the puzzle at a time. When you see the whole puzzle and you get to choose of all these pieces which one you want to get where you want to go, then you feel better emotionally. You perform better in every area of life.
And I can see where that will be tremendous mind-body therapy, mind-body awareness, because when I do consults with potential new clients and I tell them, I will ask you to do something very simple and you're just going to sit there and blink and be like, what? Mm-hmm. And when they experience that, their first reaction is like, oh my gosh, I don't know why I can't do this little thing. And it's like, it's okay. That's normal. It's because you don't have that body awareness and that body mind connection to where your mind actually can tell your body do this. Mm-hmm. Or sometimes we joke because clients would say, I hear you, I comprehend what you're asking me to do, but my body can't do what you're asking me to do. So, and then you see it when that connection starts happening. Holy cow, it takes their performance, just like you, not just on the mat, but in life, because we start making those correlations of, so how about taking this in life, right? I mean, just the fact to be able to stay focused, like you say, like when they're doing their session for 1 hour, they cannot think of anything else because there is so much mind-body connection. And if you think of how distracted we have become, I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are, but I think most of us nowadays are ADD with the phones and the computers. And, speaking of that central vision, I got that vision of when my husband is down on his phone and when I talk to him, maybe I should toss a ball and be like, are you listening? So that so he can listen. Right, to make sure with your ball there. I was like, oh, that might be a brilliant strategy to where he's telling me,
Just think fast, think fast.
That is exactly what popped into my head as you were talking about that example. But joke aside, I can see where there's tremendous value into that, because I do think we have become very body-mind disconnected. I don't know what you see based on where you are, but based on what I do, we have become very disconnected from our bodies.
That makes sense. And even things like you said, we think we should be able to do. I remember this was years ago, but the first time I did Pilates, and Pilates is you put your body in exact positions for things. And my instructor was saying, okay, I want you to put your backbone towards the back. And I'm going, and she's like, yes, keep pushing. I'm like, and I'm like, I don't know where my backbone is. Am I doing it? I needed the feedback from her to even know if my back was doing what it was supposed to be doing, because I didn't have that background.
I have clients, I asked a client last week, does this hurt? Because I have some clients with conditions, and now, as we do the exercises, I ask for constant feedback. Is there pain? Does this feel uncomfortable? And so forth. And she looks at me, she goes, I don't know, you tell me. No, it's not my body, it's your body. If you feel the pain, you will know if there is pain. Not me. But you're right, like we become, it's a tremendous journey to find that mind-body connection. And I think the big thing is that we don't even realize that we don't have it, because in a usual case, it's not requested from us or we don't think about it. But athletes, you mentioned athletes, people who are under high pressure performance, like those people can really appreciate that mind-body awareness and mind-body connection.
Exactly. And I was thinking about, I had one client that she was a baseball player, and softball, I guess. And she was on 3 travel teams. So she was very good at what she does. And her mom shared this with me. She said they were sitting in a car, and this client who was sitting in the passenger seat next to her mom, she goes, Mom, I can see you. She said, what do you mean you can see me? She said, Mom, I can see you. And she said, what are you talking about? And she said, well, usually when I'm sitting in the car next to you, I can just see in front of me. But now I can see in front of me, and I can see you while I'm looking straight ahead.
Yeah.
So, it's, and she was very good. She does.
That's again goes back to awareness. You don't even realize what you don't see until you see it. And I think that's very relevant to life. You don't know what you don't know until you become aware of it. And then you can make changes, and then you can take action.
Mhm.
And then going back to the way we started, you can be more flexible with adapting to life.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Fantastic. All right, Kimberly, give us a piece of advice or a favorite quote that you have.
There are so many. You know, some of the questions you asked me ahead of time, which we didn't get to, but you know, one of the things is self-care. So it's my belief that you can't love or care for someone else if you don't have a full bucket. So if this is your bucket and you have a hose going to your next bucket of your friend, your family, your clients, if it's constantly going this way, if your bucket isn't full, you're going to get empty. You're going to be drained. And how can you help somebody from a drained bucket? So I think it's so important to love yourself. And part of that starts with self-care and, just making sure that you're that full person in all areas, spiritual, emotional, physical, mental, be doing things to help in all areas. Like I wake up in the morning, I study my Bible, I do my meditations, my affirmations, hypnotherapy. I have lots of tools, and I get a massage every week. I exercise every day. I go for a walk every day. I read things to enhance my mind and to keep on the cutting edge of what my profession is. So you have to fill your own bucket. And not only that, but hang around with friends, family, people who love you who can fill that bucket. So you have to fill your bucket, love yourself, be overflowing. And when you're overflowing, then you can
And
contribute,
it's
then you
easy.
can help other people. So I think that's really important.
Yeah, you can say it better. I mean, I always tell people you can't overflow from an empty place. So, and you have to know what are the tools which work for you and that fill your cup, because for all of us will be different. And there's nothing wrong with me liking Pilates, you liking, I don't know, walking, or somebody else liking baseball or softball or whatever it is, but just move, right? And whatever mindful activity that you like, whether it's meditation, whether it's journaling, whether it's reading a book, whatever it is that works for you, do that. But so well said. And also so important for our body and mind. I mean, we did a lot of talking about body and mind. It's so key for body and for mind. We have gotten a client today actually told me, I said, how is, because we go through the pillars of health when something is feeling off. And she goes, stress level? She goes, no. And she goes, well, on a second thought, I have accepted a very high level of stress. So that's awareness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just because I'm used to being stressed doesn't mean it is healthy for me to be stressed.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Dr. Kimberly, what is your definition of rebellious?
There's a lot of definitions for that. Sometimes we think about when we were a teen, the things we did.
I have a rebellious daughter, teenager.
But I think at this point, rebellious to me is fighting for your truth. So always be true to yourself. Always do the right thing. You want to study and learn and be intuitive and think, what is truth? What is the right thing? When you're always doing the right thing, even when no one else is doing it, no one else is agreeing, when you know what's right for you, what's the right thing to do, that's what you need to do. That's what you need to do. And other people might find it rebellious because when everyone else is like, we're all doing this. How come she's doing that? That's wrong. They'll tell you that you're wrong, you're crazy. Why are you walking out into the desert when the water's over here? They think the water's over there. Like, this is an old book, but who moved my cheese? And the mice keep going and finding the cheese in one spot, but one day the cheese is gone, but the mice keep going to the same spot looking for the cheese and it's not there anymore. That's not the right thing anymore. The right thing is to go searching for the truth, go searching for that cheese. Okay, here it is. And sometimes you're the only man or woman going in that direction. But if you keep to the truth and keep to what is right, you'll find people that come along as they discover.
When you stay true to yourself, you will find like-minded people who are rebellious like you.
That's right.
Yeah. Dr. Kimberly, where can people follow you, find you, connect with you?
The best is probably on either Facebook or LinkedIn. My Instagram got hacked, so I don't have much on there right now. But Facebook or LinkedIn are good places to connect with me. I also have a website with my name, drkimberlylinert.com.
Okay, I will post those when we post the episode. Dr. Kimberly, I appreciate you being here and sharing your wisdom and for such a fun episode. You guys, you know the drill. If you have any questions, please let us know. Comment, share, like, and then, as always, make sure that you stay rebellious. Thank you, Dr. Kimberly, and we'll see you, Rebels, next time.
Thank you.
Can't get enough of those rebellious conversations? Do make sure you subscribe, like, and share with your friends.